and you're watching Sports Explorers. Today we're in Malibu, California to meet with legendary base jumper and wingsuit pilot Jeb Corliss.
Base jumping is when a person jumps off of a cliff with their body. And when you jump off a cliff with your body, you can do something called tracking, which is where you put your arms and your legs together and you can actually slide across the air. Basically, a good tracker can get about a 1-to-1 glide ratio, meaning for every foot they fall, they can go forward a foot, okay? Well, a wingsuit gives us more surface area because it gives us wings that go between our arms and our legs. Now, this surface area gives us the ability to slide on that air better, meaning that we can get about a 3-to-1 glide ratio, meaning we can fly 3 feet forward for every foot we fall, which gives us the ability to really more fly like a flying squirrel. You know, it gives us the ability to jump off the cliff and start moving forward instead of just straight down. And the whole time, you can be flying 5 feet from the ground, watching the ground move under you at over 100 miles an hour. You know, and as you're doing that, you can then be flying in between spires and cliffs and in valleys. And I mean, there's nothing quite like dropping into a valley and then the valley actually turns and you're actually flying inside this valley wrapping around cliff faces. I mean, it's like being in Tron. I mean, it's amazing.
So with this level of excitement, what's next for Jeb Corliss?
I'll be jumping out of an aircraft. The aircraft will go into a 270 dive, ending up underneath me. And then I'll actually fly right back to the same aircraft I just jumped out of and then get back into it. As scared as you'd be, standing on the edge of a 1,000-foot building and jumping off is exactly how scared I am. The only difference between the two of us is that I just don't allow that fear to prevent me from living my dreams and doing the things that I love. I feel the fear. It exists for me, just like it exists for you. The only difference is I don't let it control me. You know, you can be a kind of person who can choose to control fear or allow fear to control you. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, courage isn't about not having fear. Courage is about acting in spite of fear. If you didn't have fear, you'd just be a crazy person. And crazy people die, you know? That's all there is to it. In my sport, if you're crazy, you get killed. Because you will do stuff, that fear is what keeps you in check. That fear is what keeps you safe. It's funny because when I got into base jumping and I started really seeing the injuries and the fatalities and all the gnarly aspects of what our sport is, I started likening it to, like, you know, the only thing I can think that even comes close is like the military. For us, it's kind of a similar feeling. You know, you're dealing with these people and you get very strong connections to the people you're base jumping with. Because if something happens, if something does go wrong, well, they're going to be the one who saves you. They're going to be the one who rescues you. They're going to be the one there holding your hand as you're waiting for helicopters. You know, they are everything for you. So you get a very strong bond with base jumping brothers, you know? Well, I'd say probably some of the most amazing things that I've jumped off of, one would be the Eiffel Tower in France. I jumped from the second platform through the center of it doing a double reverse flip. I jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. I jumped the Petronas Towers in Malaysia. Nothing is impossible. You can do anything in life if you're willing to put forth the effort and if you have the desire. You can make anything happen. That's how winning is done. You know, that's how you win. That's how you succeed, is because you don't give up. You know, the people who fail are the ones who give up on stuff. That's how you fail.
So we're here with Jeb learning about the wingsuit. So Jeb, tell me how this works.
Well, basically, this is a wingsuit, okay? And this is what we wear when we're flying through the sky. The wing has a front surface and a back surface. And as it gets filled with air, the surfaces fill up, creating the rigid shape of a wing. And what happens is that wing is what creates the ability to create lift. So as you're flying, you're not just falling straight down, the speed is giving you lift and allowing you to fly. The goal of what we're doing is to be able to land one of these without deploying a parachute. So we'll always have a parachute as a backup in case something goes wrong, kind of like a seatbelt in a car or a helmet on a motorcycle. But eventually we'll get to the point where we won't be deploying the parachute and we'll be landing with just the wingsuit. So you think you want to try skydiving?
Let's do it. Nope. You know what, Jeb? I don't think I can do this. You're absolutely crazy. And you are flying solo, man.
This is what I do. This is how I live. So I'll retire shortly after I die. And that's pretty much, there's nothing for me after this.
I hope you enjoyed this edition of Sports Explorers. I'm Hannah Cornett, saying goodbye for now.
HALO, which is short for High Altitude, Low Opening, is a special military freefall technique commonly utilized in special operations missions. HALO techniques date back to the 1960s when the U.S. Air Force was conducting experiments on survivability factors for high-flying pilots needing to eject at high altitudes. Today, HALO deployments are used to airdrop supplies, equipment, or personnel at high altitudes when an aircraft can fly above surface-to-air missile engagement levels through enemy skies without posing a threat to the transport or the load. After the high-altitude jump and several minutes of free fall at terminal velocity, the parachutist opens his parachute at a low altitude. The combination of high speed downwards and minimal metal serves to defeat radar, enabling a stealthy insertion. And that is where the wingsuit comes into play. As with any airborne mission into a hostile environment, there's a window of vulnerability. The use of a wingsuit will allow an LZ, or a landing zone, that's further away from the drop zone, thus reducing the risk of being detected. If the technology for landing without a parachute can be perfected, airborne deployments can begin even further away from the LZ, possibly even outside of enemy territory. The window of vulnerability will be greatly reduced, creating a much safer deployment for our soldiers.